Welcome back to this week's Leading Thinker in Business interview. So I'm Kerry-Ann Hargreaves of H2 Consultancy, and this week I am really excited, not only because of her name and how she describes her business, but I'm really interested and excited to introduce you to Julie Finnikin. And Julie Finnikin is a Staff Happiness Strategist. What is that, do you say? Doesn't it sound brilliant? So Julie has actually got 20 years experience as a learning and development specialist. I'm going to hand over to you, Julie, because I think you should introduce yourself, because that title is fantastic. Go on, introduce yourself.
Right, thank you, Kerry. Yes, so as Kerry's already said, I'm a Staff Happiness Strategist. So what does that mean? It basically means that I can create happy workplaces. So I've been, 12 months ago, I was in a job where I was just disengaged and trying to look busy. I hadn't got much work, and that sounds great, but it's absolutely soul destroying. So I know what it's like when you're a member of staff and you just feel crap in your job. So that was why I left my old role, and I've sort of, it's, and I don't want other people to feel like that. So because I was in like a large organisation, I think that can quite easily, get sucked in and not get noticed.
I agree. You can disappear, can't you, in a larger business, and it's not picked up, is it?
Small, medium businesses, that can sort of impact a business a lot quicker. Which is why basically this is what I want to do. I want to help business owners to create these like a workplace culture where, people want to come to work on a Monday and, you get pushing them out of the door on a Friday to sort of go home and, relax and just have, work. You spend most of your time at work. So there needs to be some fun element. I'm not saying, that you've got to prat around the whole week. Work's got to be done.
Of course.
It can be done in ways, that engage and motivate your staff, and that's what I do.
And I think sometimes it's easily forgotten, and there's never more a pertinent time to actually have this type of strategy in place. We need to look after our people. Yesterday we had another update, obviously, from the government, and people will have gone into the office today feeling unsure, or feeling worried. I know I didn't sleep very well on Monday, knowing that there was another update coming. I didn't know what impact it would have on my business. So I think having a strategy in place, or someone that can guide you on it, is key at the moment, because we can't all be everything, can we, in business? As business owners, we can't be everything. And you might not have thought about what's the mental health like of my staff at the moment. We should be thinking that. I'd hope that most business leaders are, but I'm sure there aren't. And we're in recruitment. Gosh, Julie, we've spoken to many individuals who've had an awful experience over lockdown.
I was CIPD, I don't know if you've seen it, have brought out the Good Work Index report.
Yes. Yeah.
So I was looking at the results from that, because they've been monitoring that over the last few months. And I think while there's been, some people are saying that their employers are looking after him, but then when you do look at the results, you can sort of see that there's like an inconsistency. So those working at home compared to those working in the office, they're getting a different experience. So there is stuff being done, but is it enough? And because you as a leader, I think you think, oh well, I've give out a message, I've give out a communication, but has that sort of landed the right way? And if you're not checking, then this is where things can get worse.
And you're right, you can put out a message, but are we putting out enough messages, and is the communication right for every individual? And I'm not saying that you have to tailor what you say for each individual in the business, but you've got to remember that people are different. They'll interpret what you say differently, just like the government, whatever they say. Everybody's interpreted that very differently, haven't they? I'm sure, hence why we're in this situation, because everyone's made up their own rules. But and I think it's right. So I'm going to bring you into now why you're in the position that you are today, and that's because, which I think is brilliant, and why I wanted to share your story. You've taken lockdown as an opportunity to sit back, rethink,
Yeah.
and find an opportunity out of, I'm not going to call it a setback because I don't think it was for you, but it was a moment in time where you thought, I'm going to rethink my situation. So tell me about that. Where are you today that has changed for you since the last 12 months?
So obviously I've mentioned before, I left my corporate world last year to work for myself, mainly for the flexibility around the family, and the feeling of being disengaged. So I was doing VA work, writing training material, and then during lockdown, it gave me a chance to take a step back really and think. And I did some work with a business coach, which I think helped a lot. And I sort of realised, I've got all of this experience in learning and development and HR, and I'm not using it to the best that I can. It's what I enjoy. I enjoy putting in processes, improving things and helping people. And I love it when I've trained somebody or I've developed somebody and you see the transformation. So doing all of that work in lockdown, and as well as the homeschooling and everything else, I did have time to work on the business and not in it. And I really focused on what I wanted to do, and hence where we are now.
Which is brilliant. And I love that you've been able to take that time, because it's not been a positive experience for everybody. But, and I was talking to someone about it last week, and there has been an opportunity for people here in lockdown, if they've been made redundant or like you've thought, actually, I'm going to rethink my business model, I'm going to rethink my strategy. You've been able to come up with a way of working that utilizes all your experience that you might have been really putting to one side, which after 20 years, you're going to be able to add so much value, aren't you?
Definitely, yeah.
And gosh, the title Staff Happiness Strategist, that just makes you smile. So I love that, And then something I read about you as well is that you have this system called Happy System.
Yes.
Tell me about this. So what is your Happy System?
So the Happy System is, well, you can use it two ways. So happy means that you'll have a happy and productive, profitable year.
Ooh.
Then it's a bit of a mouthful.
It is.
But then I take the elements of happy, and that's how I work with my clients. So just a brief overview. So the happy is hearing. So what I do is I first get to understand business owners and what their vision is and how they work and what the goals are. Then I hear what their employees are saying, because obviously,
well, it can be very different, can't it?
Very different. And in a way, I'm sort of the connector. I can translate between the two. So I listen to what the employees are saying and how they feel about the workplace. So once I've got all of that, we then move on to the A, which is achieve the balance. So I take everything that I've collated and identify maybe where there could be some ways to improve and highlight some areas, meet back with the business owner, and then this is where we sort of then start working on what I can do.
Right, okay.
So the two P's are people and processes. So it's all about the people, it's all about the people processes. So I make sure that, right from the beginning, the recruitment side, they're attracting the right people to start with, because there's nothing worse than, you know yourself getting hundreds of applicants when the majority of them don't even fit the bill.
It's so hard, isn't it? You can't, I'm watching businesses at the moment doing their own recruitment because, well, that's the market that we're in right now, and I get it. And the meeting I've had earlier this morning was discussing how challenging it is to identify a strong candidate from a CV when you're not working with a recruiter. So, building that into your factor, how do you find good people? It's challenging, it's hard, isn't it? And if you are doing it on yourself through, at the moment, gosh, we're seeing hundreds of applications per role, and often, sadly, there's a huge percentage of those that aren't right because they haven't got the skill set. That's a lot of admin in itself to actually let those people know. And communication is key at the moment with those that are job seeking, because it's tough for them. But sorry, carry on. So yes, so, your two P's.
So I basically start from the beginning. So it's making sure you're getting the right people in to start with. And then we look at how you do your induction, your onboarding, all the way through, making sure that there's opportunities for staff to develop, career plans. So everything really, the people and the processes sort of cross over. So it's everything around that people piece.
Yeah.
And then the why is your own learning and development strategy and happy employees. So by doing all of that work, I make sure that you've got a learning and development strategy that sits with your business strategy. Because I think, you know, everybody focuses on the business. Let's get the goals, let's get the objectives. But then if your people don't know them goals and objectives, then they're not going to be on the same journey with you. So it's making sure that they're on the same page and that they want to hit the goals as much as you do as a business owner.
And I think businesses have been guilty of that in the past, where they perhaps they've not shared, let's be really cheesy and say, a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan. They've not shared where you want your business to go in the next few years. And if your people don't understand it, they don't know what they're working towards or the value of what they do every day.
Then they're literally coming in and what are they doing? They don't really know what yes, they know what they're doing as a job, but they don't know what it's striving to get to, what the goal or the purpose is.
Yeah, and I think you're right there. That word purpose is really important, and I use it quite a bit in our marketing, is that you've got to lead with purpose. Everything you do has got to have a purpose. And I think it is easy for someone to come in, you know, and it's okay if people come to work and they want to earn their salary, they want to go home and forget, that's okay. But I think if people have a goal, they have a purpose, they understand where the business is going, hopefully everyone is in a happier place.
I think and it's like having that feeling of belong. You know, if I'm not saying, you know, that everyone's got to be best buddies, but if there's just that sort of link and that communication, that employees can feel that, you know, yes, this is what this business is. I want to be part of this. I want to help reach these goals. And I do really think that it makes a difference.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think ultimately people are so important right now, and we need to do everything we can to support them as well as the growth of the business. But ultimately, if we've got happy workforce, happy staff, hopefully, you know, it's like they say, we're the marriage, isn't it? Happy wife, happy life. You know?
Exactly.
I'm sure my husband agrees with that. Would there be any tips that you could give to people on creating a culture that works for a business without giving too much away? Is there anything that you would advise businesses do right now to create that right culture?
The biggest thing at the moment is it's that communication, but it's not just as business owners telling and making sure that you're giving it's listening to your employees. That's the biggest thing at the moment. You know, they're probably working with restricted resources, they may be having to change the way that they work, and some of this may be for the better. So it's listening to your employees and really understanding how they're feeling and what they're going through, because I think a lot of learning could come from this as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I've already mentioned it earlier, but we have seen so many different examples of how businesses have supported people since March and how businesses haven't supported people since March. And if you're working from home, but then there's some people in the office, their experience is very different, you know. And I was talking to a business yesterday who, in the last 48 hours, he's seen an increase in the number of people approaching him saying, I'd like to be back in the office. If it's not every day, just some of the time, they're getting work from home fatigue. And I do believe it's a thing, you know. I strongly believe it's a thing, and it's not right for every business to be at home. Our team here we're only a 2, soon to be 3 hopefully, but we're only a 2, so for us it actually works so much better if we're together. You know, we've got a safe environment, there's just the 2 of us, and you have to take all those little elements into account, don't you, when you work with people.
You've got to, I think it's a factor as well of knowing your employees, and it's not knowing all the ins and outs, but it's just knowing what their preferences are and how they do prefer to work, because like you say, some people do want to be in the office, but then you've got others that are happy to work from home, but there still needs to be that social interaction. And there's nothing, I mean, you know, these Zoom calls and how we've adapted is great, but you're sort of missing the chat in the drinks machine, or passing in the corridor, or just shouting over the desk. It's them little things that are, and you know, if people can maybe have a day in the office when they get together, you know, it does help.
Yeah, there's so many ways that businesses could do it to encourage that communication. You know, we've seen loads of creative ideas from companies of how they've tried to keep that team atmosphere. They probably did it more so in lockdown than what they are now, because there's been a version of making things work, you know, but we still have so many clients that are working from home, which is brilliant if that's their business model now, because it's cutting commuting time, it's cutting stress out for people, isn't it? You know, it's actually made, we have got examples of businesses that don't feel it's productive for them, but we've got far more examples of businesses that feel it is. For their culture, it's actually transformed processes. It's made things easier as a business, you know, and I think that's where you're right, the communication piece is so important. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? Any other snippets of happy that you'd like to give us to end on that note?
I don't know. I think it's being aware that, you know, everybody's going through a difficult time, and it's different for everybody as well. So it's just, I think you've just got to be aware of that, and just, you know, add a bit of fun, and whatever that can be. I mean, there's so much being done now online and different things. So I think there is still ways that you can be bringing fun elements into the workplace, and I think that's needed now more than ever.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I'm really glad we've had this conversation today, because I certainly feel happier for it. So I'm sure other people.
I'm glad that you've invited me. Thank you.
Oh no, you're welcome. It was, you know, when I stumbled across that article, you're another local business woman as well, and you've made such a change in lockdown, and I think it's really great to share those positive stories. And if, you know, you've got that happiness word in there, which I just think needs to be shared 100%. So thank you for your time, Julie. It's been lovely. I look forward to watching you develop and seeing what you do, and hopefully there's an opportunity for us to perhaps chat again sometime.